Fjordur, the 6th free mod map to join the official lineup for ARK Survival Evolved. An incredible blend of unique creatures, adventuring, base locations, new features, and the ultimate endgame reward. Containing 140 square kilometers of new biomes to explore, it feels so much bigger than any mod map before it, with 4 islands in the overworld: Vardiland, Vanaland, Bolbjord and Belheimer, and 3 impressively huge realms: Jotunheim, Vanaheim and Asgard, accessed via either the Grand Portal Room at 40.757.5 or by accessing a brand new pinwheel via holding down R on your keyboard or your reload button on console to quickly warp about the map. Just scratching the surface, the map boasts more than 25 dangerous caves to be explored, all filled with specific dangers and themes, more specifically creatures, along with the 4 brand new additions to discover and tame. Boasts the most DLC unique lineup than any other map before it. With an overall Nordic influence initially noticed by the reshaped obelisks and supply drops, every turn or scale reveals Viking rich handcrafted landscapes and scenes, with many nods to popular culture such as the same named TV series and Lord of the Rings, heightening the sense of adventure awaiting. As per most maps, you'll find 3 obelisks on the overworld, each defining the larger 3 islands, and slight scale of difficulty, from green obelisk being the easiest to survive on and red being the most hostile. But spawning in no matter the region, it will become apparent that fortitude plays a bigger part than any other map. Simply surviving the freezing temperature of the night is a challenge in itself, with much harsher temperatures awaiting. But for ease of grinding from level 1, it's best to start on Vanaland. Find the shipwrecks at either 40.6, 43.8, 60, 87.8 or 44.4, 97.9. Break the boxes there for a chance of metal pikes, hatchets, pickaxes and crossbows, as well as some early metal and spoiled meat, and survive long enough to level some fortitude and craft some armour. Green Obelisk Vanaland defines the divide between the Runeheim Redwoods and Faunland, overlooking flat plateaus of the Broken Meadows, the Valley of Forborg, and distant much colder Snareheim Mountains, Fjordberg, Karuku Islands, Skadifjord and Shimmering Halls. Over to Blue Obelisk Vardiland invites much harsher freezing temperatures surrounding the valley and Mines of Moria, as grand and epic as it sounds. And red overlooks the volcanic ashes of Belheimer, full of oil fields, lava, sulphur pools and the Fire Wyvern Trench leading to the Magmasaur Cave. The final main island in the overworld is Bolbjord, your swamp biome, full of all the creatures to be expected of, as well as one of the main artifact caves. Of the 3 realms, Asgard is the most inviting, with plenty of wide fields, plateaus, a great spawn for Andrewsarchus taming, one of the 4 brand new creatures, Shadowmanes, a rock drake nest and a lightning wyvern nest. Vanaheim is by far the most scenic, overshadowed by the great tree that you can see from the mainland, and home to many aberration variants and a poison wyvern cove. And finally, Jotunheim is perhaps the ultimate test for any survivor, reaching temperatures below 50 Celsius, meaning it's barely livable with almost every point into fortitude, with quality fur gear and an otter for insulation, and holds the obligatory snow variant creatures as well as ice wyverns. Not to overlook the deep undersea, found via a sinkhole at 52.116.4, full of undersea creatures, a strange hazardous skeleton, and a variety of rare resources. Additional to these regions are purpose-themed caves, each holding even more unique creatures, such as the Aberrant Cave at 56.884.8, full of Ravagers and Roll Rats, the Ferox Cave at 20.7 8.5, or the Lunar Cave, full of light pets found undersea at 86.198.1, and all detailed in a separate guide in the description. Of course, you're here for the 4 brand new creatures, and the easiest to tame considering you have the honey is the turret mountable sprinting sea runner Andrewsarchus, found in quantities on the mainland near Green Obelisk surrounding the Redwoods, as well as the northeast peaks of Vardiland, but as mentioned found and tamed easier in the fields of Asgard, requiring a minigame similar to an Equus once fed honey. The 30% taming and imprint bonus making blood-sucking stealth bomber Desmodus Draculae can be found in a variety of caves, such as the Mount Doom cave, but the easiest early on is the Waterfall cave at 37.7 74.9, requiring it to feed off your blood packs, but not before sacrificing a small dino or 2 for efficiency. The loot transferring, carcass stealing, death item returning Fjordhawk can be found at either 7536 surrounding the waterfall or all over Skadifjord, needing to harvest any creature kills, and the longer it takes to harvest, the quicker the tame. Deciding on a base location, you really are spoiled for choice. Deciding on whether to take over a pre-built castle, village or ruin, with of course the most iconic being the Forborg, a remodel of Helm's Deep with a grand entrance, spacious cave and pinch tunnel to it at 2164. Then there's the Aggersberg Stronghold, a wondrous plateau overlooking the Broken Meadows at 5573. Overlooking the freezing mountains of the same name, the Fjordur Stronghold at 2118 is again a similar plateau with an epic bridge leading towards it, a handy cave at the other end, and another nod to Lord of the Rings with the iconic Minas Tirith tree at the centre. Another stronghold can be found if looking to dominate an island. At 42.4, the Bolbjord Stronghold overlooking the Swamp Island with the space to build either in or below within its cave. The Shimmering Halls at 862 is one of the most epic non-artifact caves on the map, again reminiscent of a familiar dwarven haven from Lord of the Rings, with an epic bridge leading to either its spacious main area full of handy shop style rooms and giant dwarven tools. The most epic location of any Lord of the Rings fan though is Vierheimer at 8221, looking so much like the Mines of Moria, with an epic hall, Tomb of the Fallen and indeed mine filled with more metal than you could imagine, and an aberrant cave reminiscent of a certain Balrog scene with aberration creatures below leading to its second exit. Fancier life in the Redwoods? Well, you'll find another stronghold at 2682 within it. Harder to find than it seems, but boasting again plenty of flat areas and conveniently close to some great spawns such as Maywings. If an alpha triband looking to dominate an entire cave, almost similar to what you'd expect from the Valguero Aberration Underground, but with the bonus of one singular entrance, is the cave at 28.6 39.9. A huge area to lock down and make your whole base with more space than you could ever need. At 1891 you'll find the Otter Ruins, full of otter statues praising the gods, but with a convenient cave tucked just behind it, a great spot for any smaller PvP tribes. As mentioned before, the Lunar Cave is a fantastic choice to PvP, owed to its sea entrance at 86.4 98.2, leading to a tight zero gravity tunnel opening out to a huge area brimming with metal, light pets and special outside zones, allowing you to build some incredibly defensive bases within. A truly fantastic choice for PvP, especially owed to its sea entrance, vertical scale and spacious area, is the Labyrinth entrance at 71.90.9, but is an artifact room, so may pose an issue if sharing with artifact hunting survivors. Another great undersea cave can be found at 40.8 31.6, with a tight corridor leading to it, and doubles as the aberrant Megalania and Megalosaurus spawns. Another great underwater cave can be found at 57.5 94.6, difficult to find being tucked away from view with plenty of space to reside within. A decent sized cave full of metal inside and above can be found at 34.9, 94.6 with plenty of space and remote from the rest of the map with one land bridge in, making it a defendable isolated location. Another great cave can be found at 61.8, 80.9 with 2 waterfall entrances to defend, but the bonus of being right by a beginner spawn and plenty of space to reside within. A much bigger but larger entranced cave can be found at 68.5, 38.6 with plenty of room to build in, being close to the Fjordur spawn, but perhaps a challenge to defend, especially against rafts. More for the roleplay community, you've got a lovely small village at 69.5, full of buildable small houses and a breathtaking scenery surrounding, as well as veggies incredibly close by to get you started without any crap plots. Perhaps the best roleplay area is the village of Erebor, found on Asgard at 2025, with many spacious houses to build in on a slight rise very close to the terminal for travelling and not far from those Andrewsarchus spawns. Another can be found on Asgard at 63.35, dominating an island with a one-way bridge and a beautiful red theme for anyone looking for a change of scenery. Another lovely village, and in fact where the Andrewsarchus trailer was filmed, is at 30.7, 56.8, overlooking the Forberg and another convenient veggie patch nearby to live the Viking life. And the last and perhaps largest village is found at 42.4, 73.4, with a huge wide flat area allowing a community-sized tribe to reside and perhaps use as a hub. The resources on the map are plentiful. You just need to know where to look. Already covered, you can get some handy spoiled meat and scrap metal off the shipwreck ruins along the beach, with more found on Vardiland, and metal in abundance in the aforementioned cave base locations, but metal is truly all over. General rule applies too: if it's high, it's rewarding, with the snowy peaks at 90.7, 14.9 offering plenty, a huge cluster around 6.649, an abundance at 29.6, 35.3, another cluster at 23.5, 53.4, a huge amount at 32.2, 53.4, and another at 79.6, 36.5. As well as the volcano offering plenty around 92.5, 89.4. Paste is on the Beaver Dam list again, with a nice selection of large dams, boasting it by the bucket load in a variety of areas, with one at 13.2, 19.2, another at 48.3, 73.6, and another large spot at 93.3, 32.3. Crystal isn't too far away from most metal spawns, however, a great choice is the Aberration Cave at 56.5, 84.6, brimming with it, as well as hand harvestable plants, and right next to those, harvestable rocks for that all-important Nameless Venom, red gems, and some blue gems with a higher quantity of that special blue in the mines of Moria. Obsidian can be found in small clusters near most metal spawns, with a notable spot above the Forberg at 31.9, 67.4, but naturally the volcano is brimming with plenty, traditionally near most lava pools and rivers. And speaking of the volcano, its oil fields are full of the same resource via harvestable rocks at 77.4, 80.9, as well as plenty of pump locations, with a large quantity of sulphur just across from it. In the same location, you'll find plenty of mantis ready to be harvested for poly, but there's hassle-free rotting corpses on the swamp island at 46.9, 14, awaiting a quick harvest for plenty more, as well as Xplant seeds nearby, and don't forget the Karkinos spawns in Vanaheim. Back to the volcano now, and if you can brave the harsh welcome of fire wyverns, rock elementals and magma saws, the entrance at 96.81 will take you to an abundance of both black pearls and element shards, arguably the best spot, but not overlooking the Aberration Cave once again, with harvestable rocks offering some shards as well as metal and condensed gas, with a final secret area deep within the ocean at 53.116.4, right near the seabed, boasting element ore and ambergris for your magma sore raising. Still in the sea and heading to 40.331.7, you'll find plenty of green gems awaiting within a cave, and sticking to the sea around 99.6, 79.6, you'll find dozens of clams all filled, ready to be harvested for thousands of silica pearls, as well as a convenient shallow pool around 74.6, 32.3 with plenty to grab starting out, and another at the redwoods at 18.8, 90.5. Introducing a brand new resource rock, the Honey Rock, can be found all over the map with a great beginner spawn at 60.3, 20.9, and a beehive cave full of both that and poly at 4.3, 47.3. On top of that, silk and sap is now harvestable, the former from bushes all over with plenty at 38.2, 42, and many trees all over the map dropping sap. Fjordur introduces a brand new Guardian and an overall ARK endgame reward, the former being Fenrir, the ultimate Fenrir form, dealing insane damage in freezing cold temperatures and being your only way to obtain tamed Fenrirs, dropping a cryoed version once beat, and on alpha dropping the almighty Mjolnir, an equipable skin to your tech sword, boasting abilities akin to what would be expected, such as throwing from range and dealing lightning AoE attacks. But to even wield it, you need to be worthy, and that is by collecting runes. Explorer note variants for the map, and each offering experience, but all 200 must be collected, as well as beating every Ascension boss and unlocking every Explorer note to be level 190, discussed with more detail in a video in the description. And then, and only then, you can wield the mighty Thor hammer. But to even face Fenrir, you'll need to beat each of the island bosses at 3 different terminals across the map at their respective difficulty to use their trophies to face that difficulty of the final boss, and each of those require the standard affair of artifacts and tributes, as well as brand new tributes from beating the brand new 3 mini bosses, Beyla, Steinbjorn, Hati Skoll, in their individual arenas, summoned with runestones farmed from any alpha creature, with tougher alphas dropping more per kill. So, where are they all? So first up is Artifact of the Strong, just north of the Redwoods in the Bear Caverns at lat 9.9, lon 84.3. Probably one of the more difficult caves to get to, associated with swamp caves on other maps, because it's full of dirty flying insects and arthros, spiders and boas, with bears along the way guarding their precious loot. Of course, a honey cave filled with all the honey you can imagine, a bit like the honey spot on Crystal Isles, with 2 different routes that will eventually lead you to the final area, possessing the Artifact of the Strong, as well as a bunch of loot crates, making this a great spot for loot farming on top. Next up, we've got the Artifact of the Hunter, found in the northwest region of the map at 3.3, 32.6, hidden behind a rock, revealing the Drenheimer Cave. With a pretty straightforward run, bar a few bats and palovias, and as you reach the edge you will see the Hunter a mere hop, skip and a grapple away. There is an alternative but longer route at 7.6, 39.2, sending you through a tunnel and then a vertical drop through some water, out the other side, through what seems to be a dead end, but there is a passage through again to the same place. Onto the Artifact of the Immune, found on the Volcano Island within Mount Doom Caverns at 90.8, 78.1, with a very visible entrance, easily found and straightforward to get to. Of course, a reference to Mount Doom of Lord of the Rings, sitting bang centre, surrounded by onyx scorpions and arthros, but ready to be claimed. Onto Artifact of the Clever and Pack, 2 artifacts for 1 in the same cave at the Molten Caverns at 21.2, 57.4. Now, you've got a bit of parkour for this one, playing the floor is lava, but as it opens out, it'll split off into two sections, with the left and more straightforward one taking you to the pack, and the right possessing the clever, requiring grapples or something to get over the jump you just made to it. Onto the artifact of the Brute at the Swamp Island, and as you'd expect, being a swamp cave, you are going to need a gas mask or maybe even some sets of scuba if you've got that, at 49.4, 14.3. Full of those lovely bats, spiders, arthros, leeches down in the depths, with a bit of a turn as you pull out to a jump towards the artifact of the Brute. Onto artifact of the Skylord now, within a very frozen fortress. It is super cold in here at 7.7, 23.5, with some super strong bears, apes, palovias and wolves along the way, but a bunch of loot drops as you jump from pillar to pillar, avoiding the death zone floor, turning a corner to finally reach the Skylord. Onto the Cunning now, undersea at the Forgotten Caves at 76.866. Swimming through, you will eventually pop out the other side, find a broken, worn down ship, navigate past plenty of bats and scorpions until it finally pulls out to a grand display of the Cunning. The next one, we're going deep undersea at 3.3, 3.7, deep within a sea cave filled to the brim with plenty of nasty sea creatures and of course eels along the way. But as you reach the other end and dip down a vertical tunnel, there it is, artifact of the Devourer is there, ready to take home. Onto artifact of the Massive, with again a sea entrance that you're going to dip down to at 71.8, 1.2. But this is quite a long journey. As you pop out the other end, you've got a vertical scale just to get to the first room, and then you will be introduced to the Nidisheim Labyrinth, full of booby traps along the way as you work out the puzzles to get through, to open doors and finally find the artifact of the Massive. To face Beyla, one of the 3 mini bosses that you're going to have to beat in order to beat the final boss, you need to head to 4.2, 47.3, find a cave there, head straight through, and you'll come to a beehive honey filled area. Hit and activate the terminal in there with your 30 runestones gained from killing alphas, and you can spawn that into bead for your Beyla relic. The next two require you to go to the portal realms found via the portal room at 40.7, 57.5. And heading through there, you will be graced with the grand 3 portal doors to all 3 realms. Steinbjorn can be found in a tucked away cave at 77.1, 30.9, with a small crouch space leading to a grand tree, and again a terminal to access and summon Steinbjorn to beat and grab that all important Steinbjorn relic. Hati Skoll can be found quite out in the open on Asgard at 20.5, 37.1, with a terminal in front of a seemingly inaccessible portal door, summoning the 2 wolves to beat for your Hati Skoll relic. Then once you've got those relics, you're going to need to find the original island bosses, each terminal in separate locations across the map. The Brood Mother terminal can be found in a cave at 57.4, 65.6, with a requirement of apex items and artifacts on top to beat the version you desire. The Megapithecus terminal cave can be found within the Aberration cave at 56.9, 85.1, and if you head all the way through to the back, you'll find the terminal again requiring apex items and artifacts depending on your difficulty. Onto the dragon now, conveniently placed in a cave very reminiscent of Moria from Lord of the Rings, with 2 entrances, but the quickest entrance is at 86.2, 4.5, with an easy to access terminal but a wealth of apex items as you'd expect for the dragon, as well as artifacts once again. And then finally, to point out the obvious, though it is worth noting you can do this at any realm terminal as well, of course, as the obelisk terminals, to face the final and ultimate boss requiring trophies from the island bosses. And don't forget, you'll unlock many techgrams along the way and loot to be obtained from beating the mini bosses, until you're finally ready to face the final boss and receive your final reward for ARK Survival Evolved. Thanks all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this. Please, if you did, comment below, hit that like button. This was a lot of work to put together. Until next time, my name's Raasclark. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And as always, peace out.